Hello, everyone. Welcome to People on Dating. I'm your host, Will Morales. On today's show, I have Jose. And our topic today, does fashion count in a relationship, or especially dating? Do clothes make the man? Jose, thank you so much for being on People on Dating. How are you?
I'm doing quite well. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I am good. I am good. And for those of you who haven't tuned in before, this is a topical conversation about the ups and downs of dating. All of us have a story to tell, whether you're 18 or 80, we all have a good story to talk about our dating history and our past. And this type of forum, it's just a conversation. There is no judgment. So getting back to the topic at hand, Jose, it's funny. I've always heard that clothes make the man. I really think it's the other way around. I think the man makes the clothes, but I think also if you're not, let's say, sophisticated enough, or maybe you too young and you haven't got the experience, then I think clothes will come into play. I've seen some of my buddies that I thought were a-holes, but the way they dress to me got them over. You know what I mean?
Right. So it's one of those uh, yes and no kind of answers, right? Do clothes make the man? I guess I'm of the opinion that clothes make the man, yes, but to the extent I think that they convey who he is to the outside world, right?
That's the
So,
first thing you're going to see. Yeah.
right. So, in essence, people are going to judge you. And oftentimes because they know you and you're making first impressions, right? Clothing, I think, in my opinion, does kind of manifest some aspect of a man, right? Whatever that is, right? If he dresses in a suit, so it's conveying power, professionalism,
Right.
right? So yeah, it does convey in some aspects the man. I think it doesn't convey, in my opinion, what makes him deeper, right? So what is it about a man in that sense that makes a man, if that makes any sense?
Right.
So for instance, right, clothing will tell you nothing about a man's kindness, right? I
No,
mean,
absolutely.
it's not going to tell you anything about a man's honesty, right? I mean, I could be wearing a three-piece suit and I could be lying through my teeth,
Right,
right?
right, right,
It doesn't convey anything about a man's reliability, right? It doesn't convey anything about a man's compassion, about a man's passions. It doesn't convey anything about whether or not a man is a good lover, right? It doesn't convey anything about how hard a man works. So
right.
to the extent that clothes makes a man, it's kind of all perception, in my opinion, right? So what you're conveying to the outer world is a message. Sure, it is. It's definitely a message. I mean, if I dress in a three-piece suit and I'm on the subway, the woman across who's sitting down, she's not going to perceive me as a janitor, right?
Right, Unless you're a well-dressed janitor, you go to work in a
Right,
three-piece
exactly.
suit and all that, but then she sees you in your sanitation uniform and go, wait a minute, he goes to work like that?
Right, exactly. Or look, or let's say, I'm at a bar and I see this good looking woman, right? And she's like stunning, right? Like she's gorgeous, beautiful, like drop dead gorgeous. And as I approach, she's got pajamas on.
Right. I got you.
Right? Yes. I'm gonna judge that, right? I'm gonna like, what is this tremendously good-looking woman who has a wonderful personality? As I talk to her, she seems to be great. why is she dressed in pajamas?
No, I get you. But how many times have we heard some women say that they love a man in uniform, right? And they don't even know him, whether it's a uniform of the armed services, for those who serve, obviously, we have your back as, by doing what you do. But we always hear that some women always say, oh man, I love a man in uniform. But it's just like you said, you could wear a three-piece suit, she could, or whoever the person is could say, oh wow, this guy's a powerful businessman. I could tell, look at the suit he's wearing and all that. But like I said, jokingly, you could end up going to, the sanitation department and it just change. It's the same thing with a uniform, whether it's the armed services or whatever, you could say, oh, he's going to have discipline or whatever. But, once you're behind the closed doors, then what happens, so
Well,
like you said,
so-
we don't know what that person is by what they wear.
Correct. It doesn't tell you anything about the character of the individual, right? Now,
Right.
you're right. There are, well, like you said, there are women who love men in uniform, right? But I'll tell you why, right? Because what is it a man in uniform, right? Well, it shows that he's disciplined, right? In fact, this weekend I attended my nephew's military retirement party.
Oh,
He just
okay.
retired from the military after serving 21 years, dude. Right?
Wow.
Yeah. Now, this weekend, Saturday was scorching. It was in the 90s. We were in the middle of a field. The sun was out. It was blazing. But what did he have on? A crisp uniform with shined shoes. The man didn't even break a freaking sweat, right? Meanwhile, we're all sweltering, like, dying. But what it conveys is, to me, I mean, in my opinion, I think what women see is a man in authority who's responsible,
Right.
right? Who takes care of himself, who bothers to shave, right? Who's clean cut. That women like that. I mean, women don't want to date some guy who's got oily hair, dirty fingernails, and plaque on their teeth.
Yeah, I get you, brother. Yeah.
So when they see someone in uniform, that's the kind of message I think that they're conveying, right? Is I'm neat, I'm orderly, I'm clean, I'm disciplined, I take care of myself. And the other thing I think is that to some extent the uniform makes you look good, and you know it, right?
Yeah.
And you know it, right? So when my nephew's out there, he looks like Mr. Clean in uniform.
Right.
He knows it. He knows it. He's standing straight and erect. He's got this wide brimming smile. He knows he looks good. So to some extent, that uniform conveys a positive feeling. And in many ways, I think clothing does the same thing. It's a form of self-expression. That's what I'm looking for, right?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree there because it's to the point where you feel good about yourself, and then I think you have definitely more confidence if you dress up neat, even if in a casual setting, where if you have a nice pair of jeans and a nice dress shirt, and it's like you said, it's pressed and it's neat, and you're clean shaven, or if you have a little goatee, whatever that may be. Yeah, I some of my female friends, they say the same thing, that they want to see a guy, like you said, clean fingernails, shaven, or if they have a little goatee, or if their beard is nice and neat, whatever. Because you know what, at the beginning, that's the first thing they're gonna see. Is just like you said, Jose. You see someone that might be sitting down, you go, "My gosh, she's beautiful," but then you realize, wait a minute, she's wearing pajamas to work or whatever. But I get it. So I just think having the clothes does help. Now the character, like you said, the man's, he's not defined by the clothes, but we got to look at the man's character as a secondary, because again, everything is so visual at the beginning.
Correct. And people that's, people are going to form impressions, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't get there's an old expression. You don't get a second chance at first impressions,
Yeah, I
right?
heard that too. Yeah, exactly.
Right, right. So you got to put your best foot forward, right? And and I get it, right? And you do, right? Because you do want to make you do want to impress, right?
Right,
Like I
right.
said, you want to dress to impress. But as I said in my opening statement, uh, you know, it's only to an extent, right? Because what makes a man is much more deeper than clothes, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's to my and in my opinion, I think that once you get past, those first stages, that first impression, I think what women look for next is those character traits. Is he honest, right? Is he
Yeah.
loyal? Is he kind? Is he humble? Is he loving? Is this the kind of man that I want to be with? So yes, style is important. Clothing and style is like critical, but it's the other things that count more.
Yeah, no, no, I definitely agree. It's funny because um, when I was much younger and not even thinking of my character or whatever, because I always thought I was a good guy or whatever. But of course, it's that's your opinion. Let's see what she says, obviously. But I remember I used to get GQ magazine and any type of men's magazine and just see what was the clothes of the month. Since the magazine went monthly, and I would just see and try to get ideas of what to wear, especially if I'm going to go dancing back in those days, or if I'm going to a networking event. Like when I go to a networking event, especially when it's in the fall, it's nice because now you can wear a blazer and you can wear maybe a crisp shirt. Here in the summer, when it's like 85 to 90, like I went to one yesterday, I wore a pair of jeans and a nice short sleeve shirt. But I saw pretty much all the men wearing something like that because again, it comes to the weather. But I think what you said though, it hits right on the head. It's the man's character. Is he a good guy? Is he trustworthy? Is he able to communicate with you? The clothes eventually become the secondary thing. I
It's
guess
secondary.
after you get the initial meetup and hanging out.
Right. But you raised a good point earlier, and I think this is where sometimes men need to learn lessons from women, right? Like
Mhm.
I remember when my sister was in the doldrums after, being divorced, right? It was very hard for her to sort of, start to begin to date again and to, pick herself up again. She went through a pretty rough divorce, right?
Mhm.
And I remember one of her friends telling the story how she went to the house and my sister was looking horribly, like terrible,
Right.
like, black under her eyes, you could tell she was a mess. And she even told her, Miriam, you look like a mess. That's my sister's name. You look
Right.
like a mess. Miriam, get up, take a shower, get your damn best black dress out. Let's go out and let's go have some fun. I want you to look beautiful. And you know what? My sister got out of the doldrums. I mean, that was sort of
Right.
like the beginning of the end. Sort of, it was the end of her feeling so depressed,
Yeah.
but it was the beginning of her trying to feel good again. And what helped was, gussing up, right? Looking beautiful, wearing that great dress, and really feeling good about yourself all over again, right? Because sometimes that's what you need to do is to feel good about yourself. And I think in that moment, sometimes, dressing up can help, right?
Yeah, no, that's definitely key. We're talking with Jose, and today's topic is does clothes make the man? Obviously, there's more to it, and you know, I really feel again, when I want to go out, whether it's with you guys or even when I go to the park, Jose, to roller skate, I make sure my shorts are clean. I make sure I have a nice crisp
Right.
t-shirt. I got my visor, I got my shades, because I mean, you're working up a sweat. You're also exercising, but there's people there that I've known. They might be in sweatpants, but they have a nice dress shirt. Which is
Right.
like an odd match when you're talking about a sweatshirt, I mean, a sweatpants and a dress shirt. But you know what? It is fashion because we're out there in front of a lot of people. And the
Well,
thing is, Jose,
yeah.
we're in front of a lot of people, which is tourists watching us roller skate and they're taking videos or whatever. So, you want to look your best. And a lot of us, that I hang out with, the guys, we're wearing cargo shorts, which is, nice and clean. And like I said, you could wear those shorts during a Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon to shop, but we're wearing that to go roller skating.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny, but what I'm sure some of the people that you meet up with or that you speak with, they're still dating, right? And
Sure.
the worst thing that you can do in any kind of this is of course my own personal opinion, but the worst thing you can do when you want to date is you don't want to convey again a message that that you're a hoodlum. Like, can you imagine going on a first date with your pants halfway down your ass, excuse me, down your, right? With,
Yeah.
with a hoodie, right? What kind of message does that convey? You're going out and that's how you're going to impress dude? No, man.
Yeah.
I don't care how many gold chains you have on. I don't care how many diamond teeth you got. I don't care if you come out of, your vehicle, your Mercedes-Benz vehicles. What kind of a message are you conveying by dressing like that, dude? Come on,
Yeah.
give me a break. I
I've
mean,
seen
it,
I,
it,
where I think I would consider it, I'm assuming it might be a date and I don't know, but I remember one time I was working out, I was doing a little running, a little walking, um, and I saw this couple and the girl was like neatly dressed and she looked great, nice blouse, nice, professional looking dress. And the guy was in like, basketball shorts and a tank top. And I'm like, oh man, that's such a bad mix, and now unless he just happened to be walking by and he ran into her, okay, maybe that could happen. But if they had a date to hang out together and you're coming out like that and she's, dressed as they say, was it to the nines? Uh that's a bad look.
it is. It totally is a bad look, and you're going to be judged on that. I mean, right? You're going to be
Yeah.
judged, and you're going to be judged harshly, right? Now, some people will say, "Well, I don't care what anybody thinks about who I am. They don't know me. They
Right.
don't know the character of the person that I am." That may be true, but but you know what? The fact is that you expressed yourself, right?
Yeah.
And
Well, that's the
people
first thing
may,
that people are going to see. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm
right,
sorry.
right. You expressed yourself, and people, that's what they see, and those are the kind of judgments that people are going to have of you, right? Just based on what they see, not what they know about you, but what they see.
Yeah.
So you might as well try to at least make some kind of a good impression, right? You don't want to leave an impression that makes you look negative, right? You want to make an
Yeah.
impression that looks positive. I mean, that's why they say in interviews, right? You're not going to go in jeans and sneakers to an interview, right?
No,
You're
no.
going to
You
try
want to
to
you want to
look,
look good. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
you want to look professional. You want to look like, you're part of the culture, right?
Yeah.
And part of the culture is you got to look professional in any kind of setting, right?
Yeah. So Jose, if you had to do it all over again, right, with your younger self, right? You're at your age right now. All of a sudden you meet Jose at 21. Let's put it 16, 17, 18. That Jose. What would you tell yourself? I know what I would tell myself is, dude, whatever you do, try to save up and get some nice clothes.
Exactly. Get your act together, son.
Yeah. What would you say though? I mean, in terms of, let's say, dressing well, because even at that age, you still have to impress, because women at that age or young women, they're dressing up, I see them in the street with their mother and, they got a nice pair of slacks and a nice blouse. So they're even dressing up at a young age. I just don't know about the guys, if we get that type
Well, so
mentality.
Well, it's like everything else, right? It all depends on the situation and the circumstance, right? I mean, as I've gotten older, to be honest with you, I don't judge. I don't judge as much, right? Because
Right.
the only person who really judges is up there,
Sure, sure.
right? And so I've gotten away from that because, I've met some dynamic people that, when you first met them and you saw their appearance, you were like, what is that? And then, when you get to know them, you're like, wow, I'm really impressed with this person. So, I kind of give the benefit of the doubt now. So if I see a young
Which is
person
fair
out there,
enough. Yeah.
yeah, if I see a young person, even though their jeans are halfway down their knees, which happened, in fact, I had an intern who from, I won't mention the college, but he was my intern
Right.
for the fall semester. And that's how he came on the first day, with a little
Wow.
hoodie and his jeans halfway down his whatever. And so, you know, I didn't say anything at first, because when he spoke to me pretty elegantly. He was pretty respectful. He was very humble. He was a pretty, well-spoken young man. So I finally had the nerve to say, I think his name was Tyrone. I said, Tyrone, can I give you some constructive criticism? This is because this is a professional setting. I want you to come to be my intern, but what I do want you to do is to pull up your pants, pull down the hoodie, and let people see you, because you're a very well-spoken young man, and I want you to
Right.
work for me. And he kind of laughed at me and he said, okay, no problem. And so he pulled up his pants, he took down his hoodie. And by the way, that young man went on to further his studies, and I think he's doing his master's degree right now at Hunter College.
Well, see, it took someone with experience to show him the way, because maybe whether his parents or whoever his guardians just maybe even I guess they never noticed, or they just didn't want to say anything. But you put him in a professional setting, and look what happened. Maybe that was the kick that he needed.
Maybe that was the catalyst that he needed. You're right, because maybe that was his upbringing. Maybe that's what he knows. Maybe that's the only thing he does know.
Yeah.
But does that make him, to be, a hood rat or anything like that? No, like I said, I don't try to make him judgments any longer, because you just never know.
Right, right, right. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess the theme of today's show is, like I said, do clothes make the man? And obviously, the answer is definitely not, because they're not defined by the clothes. The man's character is key. Obviously, the way you dress, you could convey a bad message of dressing, with your, having your hoodie up, or your jeans down to your ankles, whatever. And at the beginning, we are judged by the way we dress, at least for the first impression. But again, it all comes down to, how does he speak? How well is he spoken? Does he, is he courteous? Is he a gentleman? So, it's a lot of good points that you made today. Anyway, Jose, first of all, I want to thank you so much for being on People on Dating. I really, really appreciate it. And before I go, just one more thing.
Yes, sir.
Any advice for anybody near our age on dressing?
Yes. So thank you for having me. First of all, this is a great discussion on the psychology of clothing.
Yeah, it's true. Because you know what? When it comes to dating, that's one of the things, we have to look good when we go out.
So to answer your question, so there are some rules of etiquette, right? So, always try to dress as appropriate as you can to the occasion, I think, right? So if you're going on a date, women always like a man in a nice crisp shirt, nice slacks, a nice pair of shoes, right? I mean, that's the first thing a lot of women look at is your shoes. So make sure.
Oh yeah, I remember I heard that not too long ago, and I'm like, okay, good. I always try to have my shoes clean and looking proper.
Yeah. You
Even
don't
my
want to have,
sneakers when I go out.
right. You don't want to have scuffed shoes, shoes that look like they're 5 years old. And even if they are, give them a shine, man. Make people think that you made some effort here in looking good, right?
Right.
And the other thing is, like I said, dress for the occasion, right? So if you're going to a dinner, come on, man, don't go in jeans and a t-shirt, right? You want to look good, man. Look good. Look good in front of your girlfriend. Look good in front of everybody else. And I think that's really, to me, the one advice I can give is look good, even if your shirt is 3 years old. Iron it, clean it.
Yeah.
Even if your shoes are 3 years old, give them a shine. Look presentable, and I think people will react to that.
Well, I like
And I think you'll get a good vibe from your first date.
Yeah, and I like it where you dress for the occasion, because it is true what occasion you're gonna attend, how you dress for it. So anyway, again, Jose, thank you so much again for being on People on Dating. I really, really appreciate it, sir.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yep. Okay. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Hold on, Jose. Well, everyone, that was Jose. Jose, thank you so much for being on People on Dating's podcast. I really appreciate it. What did you guys think about today's subject? Do clothes make the man? Is there more to it than that? You know, Jose brought up some really good points. Anyway, again, Jose, thank you so much for being on People on Dating. You can find me at peopleondating.com. That's peopleondating.com. You can also find me on Apple Podcasts. Please subscribe, leave a review, tell us how we can make this show better. You can also find me on Spotify and Google Podcasts. Anyway, guys, I want to thank you so much for listening. And remember, this is just a conversation, no judgment. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day, and please stay safe. Bye.